Hey guys, this is Mark here again and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do something different. First time in this channel, the battle of two different phone models from different brands. The Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro and also the Oneplus Nord N10 5G. So I've been a great fan of Xiaomi and Oneplus since 2014. But in this battle, I'll try to be as brutally honest as possible, covering as many aspects as possible. So the Nord N10 5G here is OnePlus new way of providing budget offering. So official retailing is at Ringgit Malaysia 1199, but on and off OnePlus Malaysia will have flash sales that make it even lower price at Ringgit Malaysia 999. So which is head to head with the Redmi Note 10 Pro, which is also selling at Ringgit Malaysia 999. So let's get started. First, let's compare design and build. Redmi Note 10 Pro has a 6.67 inch Full HD AMOLED screen, and the Note has a 6.49 inch Full HD IPS LCD. The LCD panel on the Note by all means is not a bad one. I tried using it before under bright afternoon sunlight and I could see clearly once I bumped the brightness to 80%. But the AMOLED panel on the Note 10 Pro here bring it up to another level with peak brightness 1200 nits. So when you compare these two phones side by side, you see that AMOLED panel of the Note 10 Pro is even more vibrant and has deeper black. The Note screen supports 90Hz of refresh rate, where the Note 10 Pro supports 120Hz refresh rate. So when you do scrolling, the smoothness on the Note 10 Pro is definitely much better than the Note. Nevertheless, both of them are definitely better than phones with 60Hz refresh rate display. Still talking about the front part of the phone, basically the bezel of these two phones are actually quite minimal at the top, left and right, except for the chin. The Note has a much bigger and noticeable chin compared to the Note 10 Pro. It looks, how should I put it, horrendous. And the punch hole with selfie camera is much bigger on the Note. Although I must admit that I don't like the ring at the Redmi Note 10 Pro selfie camera. To be honest, I think OnePlus can do better than this. The display is the most important part of the phone. So when you cut corners like this, consumers are clever and they will notice it and affects their purchasing decision. So overall, I prefer Note 10 Pro display better. So if you flip the phone, you'll notice that the back of the Note is actually much curvier compared to the Redmi Note 10 Pro. So together with Note smaller size and lighter 3 gram compared to the Note 10 Pro, the Note actually fits more naturally in the hand. And the back of the Note is actually made of plastic, whereas Note 10 Pro is made of glass, which is much more solid. So glossy finish on the Note and matte finish on the Note 10 Pro. So the back of the Note is actually more prone to fingerprint smudges. And if you can see here, the fingerprint sensor is actually at the back of the phone for the Note, and side mounted fingerprint sensor at the right side of Redmi Note 10 Pro. So honestly speaking, who still uses back fingerprint sensor nowadays? It's so outdated looking and so inconvenient to unlock the Note. You need to pick up the phone to unlock, and the fingerprint sensor is actually a bit low. So you need to adjust your palm and finger to unlock the phone. So for Redmi Note 10 Pro, once you pick up the phone, the left hand index finger falls naturally onto the fingerprint sensor. So it's actually less effort. Let's look at the camera design and function. Both phones have quad camera setup. The camera design of the Note resembles certain S brand, if you know what I mean. The camera design on the Note 10 Pro is more original looking, although it looks similar to the camera design on the Mi 10T series last year. But to be fair, the camera bump of the Note is much thinner and smaller than Redmi Note 10 Pro. So as a result, if you compare these two phones, the Note is actually less wobble on solid surface compared to the Redmi Note 10 Pro, which is more wobble on solid surface. The main camera and ultra-wide camera for these two phones perform nicely, no complaint. Although I must point out that Redmi Note 10 Pro main shooter is 108 megapixel and Note N10 main shooter is actually 64 megapixel. Just in case there's a megapixel freak out there, The super macro lens and night mode on the Redmi Note 10 Pro is much better than the Note N10. So you guys can check it out the camera samples that I uploaded on my Instagram. Next, let's talk about performance. Snapdragon 690 on the Note N10 and Snapdragon 732 on the Redmi Note 10 Pro. So if you compare the AnTuTu score for both phones, the score on the Note 10 Pro is actually slightly higher. In actual performance, both play S4 9 at 30 frames per second and Smooth Ultra on PUBG, but it felt smoother playing PUBG on the Note 10 Pro. And for Genshin Impact, both can play at 60 frames per second with custom graphics setting, but frame drop faster on the OnePlus Note N10 after 15 minutes of gameplay. In terms of battery, OnePlus Note N10 has 4300 mAh battery and Redmi Note 10 Pro has a much bigger 5020 mAh battery. So in terms of battery life, Note N10 can last up to 7 to 8 hours of screen on time with 1.5 day battery life on normal usage. For Redmi Note 10 Pro on normal usage, 8 to 9 hours of screen on time with 2 days of battery life. Anyway, if you run out of battery, you can always use their own proprietary fast charger to top up the battery under 1 hour. So 30-watt warp charger on the OnePlus and 33-watt turbo charger on Xiaomi Redmi. Guys, let's do a speaker test between these two phones which have dual speakers capability. So let me start with the Note first and bump up the volume to the max. And I'll bump up the volume to the max for the Redmi Note 10 Pro also. And let's start with the Note. Next, on the Note 10 Pro. So who performed better? You guys be the judge. So there you go guys, my conclusion on the mid-range budget phone battle. For me, if you want an affordable phone with 5G capability as well as cleaner software, go for OnePlus Note N10. But if you want AMOLED screen with 120Hz refresh rate, better camera performance, bigger battery life, better chipset performance, go for Redmi Note 10 Pro. So let me know in the comments below on how you guys feel. Thanks again for the huge support guys. Until then, take care and stay safe. Peace.